Hello friends and welcome. Today we're going to do a replay analysis of one of my own games. I'm going to talk through and explain the thought process behind what I'm doing as Nature's Prophet support, which I made a guide on recently. I think he's one of the best pub supports you can play if you know what you're doing. So that's what we're here to do. So you see, as soon as the game loads and I can start moving around, I'm going to go TP out and place the ward. I recommend at least the mid ward. Some good spots are somewhere over here, here, or here. You can also do the mid lanes, that's fine too. You just generally want to give vision of the middle area to your mid laner. This one is maybe a little bit more to the side than you might usually see. For wards after that, somewhere down here can be fine if you're playing position 5, which I had a bit of a brain fart here. I thought I was position 5, but I forgot I'm position 4 this game. So I actually warded down here for the lion. That's fine. You'll notice over here on the minimap, they placed ward. We didn't see it on the minimap in this case because they placed it from... actually, I double-checked. Pugna actually happened to place it from right here, which if I had moved the observer more over here, I might have caught. But in the same way, if I place it over here, they might have placed from this side of the trees. Or they just could place it from this inner part of the trees, and no ward I would place would see that, except for maybe up here. But that wouldn't provide as good mid vision that the mid laners prefer to have. This is some pro level shit. So don't worry about it if you don't see the mid ward. That's fine. It's honestly just good play from them. This ward you can do if you want to do up here. There's not as many good spots on this side, honestly, because it's so cramped here. A lot of sentries might end up blocking this area, but depending what you need, you can place it in this area, you can place it in the lane, stuff like that. It just kind of depends. It's not really the point of this video. It's just usual beginning wards that you get to place and no one knows where you put them. I don't really recommend say you were dire and you wanted to put back here to courier snipe. That kind of works because it still helps with first blood if you're playing position 4. I don't really recommend putting it back here as the position, if we're playing position 4 and we're looking for courier snipes, it's not really worth your time. You wanna gank and stuff like that. So I don't really do that. You're seeing a very awkward first blood attempt. That's kind of the other thing that ward is for all these first blood stuff, but we weren't quite ready for it. You see me kind of... In hindsight, I don't really recommend doing this that much anymore, guys. You see, I have to use my TP. So, one nice thing about this is that I killed a courier. I would prefer to get more, but you can only, you can only get so many. I actually bought another sentry while I was here. You see, earlier I blocked this camp thing. I was position 5. So I bought another sentry to either block this camp or block this camp. Or sorry, unblock this camp, block this camp. And I can buy it from the enemy base while I'm here killing couriers and then TP out. But I have now used my teleport scroll. So that is a bit of a pain. I'll probably have to buy one or I have to die and then get one. Because I'm in the lane first from TPing here, I body block it. If you're not here because you're somewhere else doing something, you would be TPing into the lane a few seconds before this and start hitting people with the bonus damage. I am going to make myself do that more rather than going for the courier kills. I think if you don't get 2 couriers, it's not quite worth it. So based on what I saw happening here, I figured that the lane is starting to slowly push into us based on the first body block I did and then hitting some creep, stuff like that. So I came over to block their small camp, make sure there's not a sentry back here already, and then started coming in over here. Luna tried to go for the body block, was just a moment too late. So when you don't have Sprout, you're just going to right click, and we kind of zoom through this. You see me right clicking the enemies, harassing, going for denies. Even if I don't get the deny, if I just kind of mess up their timings a little bit and I get the creeps killed off faster so that the lane pushes in, that works too. I'm going to hit this camp, pull it over here. Not that I'm trying to do a pull, but that would have been the timing. I think I hit at 123, and in a few seconds, that's when Vengeful Spirit would have hit this camp to try to do this pull up here. And I don't want her to do that because this lane equilibrium is really good for me, so that's why I hit it and drag it out over there. And then we're just going to go back to right clicking around. Now, something you're going to see me not do for the next couple minutes is to check around the map. You'll notice I have teleport right now, and so actually if I were clicking around, maybe I see a chance to gank mid as Pugna maybe dives this mid lane. Down here, actually, we just missed it, but they actually went on win range. I checked the replay. You see she's quite low up here. If I had been watching or if they had called for it, I think Lion stunned her right here. I could have teleported back here and then maybe we kill that Wind Ranger. Now, I don't need to depend on my teammates calling it out if I am watching the minimap, which is hard. That's the difficult part of playing Nature's Prophet, and sometimes I play better or worse. So other days I might have seen it and got that kill. Not today, not in this replay, which is too bad. We don't get to see a good example of using teleport in the early game, but that is an example of why TPing for the courier snipe has its downsides, because I would have had to TP back to lane, and if I had bought a teleport scroll, that's kind of okay, but I would have had to spend 100 gold on that. If I TP to lane, I still have this teleport scroll. Sorry, we should clarify. If I use teleportation to the lane, from the Bounty Runes, I would still have this Town Portal Scroll. So then, if I had TP'd for this Wind Ranger kill, like perhaps over here as well, I still didn't see this happening on my mini-map while playing. I could TP down here, get the kill, and then Town Portal scroll back. That way I don't have to waste time like running all the way back to the lane to go to the Twin Gate, and then like walk all the way through here to be safe, right? It just takes a lot of time, and that's kind of why the Town Portal scroll plus Teleportation is really nice. You can show up anywhere and then immediately be back in your lane. Now this time, I did kind of get zoned off, or I just wasn't paying attention, I don't know. They do get a pull this time. I am about to die here, but I actually live just barely. Wave Terror almost grabs me. So usually you want to Town Portal scroll back and then use Teleportation back into the lane so that you get the max stacks. But because I didn't buy a Town Portal scroll earlier and I used it for courier sniping, I don't have one, so I got a Teleportation back, buy a Town Portal scroll, and then I'm gonna teleport back to the lane using this. I tried to do it as quickly as I can so I could maybe use these stacks, but I actually don't fully heal because of that. It was a bit rushed, and I didn't get to use the stacks anyways. Here, I mentioned this in the guide I made. Eventually, people buy Quelling Blades. Vengeful Spirit actually didn't, which is kind of why this lane is going well, and we're going to start getting kills here too. Luna does have a Quelling Blade, but you see, I tried to wait. She like walked up, so it was kind of near the trees, and then like the creeps were following her. So I was hoping the creeps would body block her, especially if she tried to go to the left, but she chose the right side, so she is going to get out here cleanly. But if she had just tried to like move straight up, which a lot of people will do, like I was kind of hoping like maybe these trees would have blocked her. It ended up not being like the best position, but that's kind of like the logic of why I sprouted here versus sprouting her at other times, like in the open parts of the map, where any Quelling Blade in any direction probably would get her out. We'll hopefully see some better examples of that later on in this game. I'm pretty sure we do. From here, you'll see nothing crazy, right? Just hit creeps, pull the hard camp away so they can't do pull, stuff like that. I am going to miss the Lotus because of that. Bit of a misplay on my side. I didn't need to do this because actually Venge was standing like on this left side, right? So we kind of knew she wasn't really going to be in range for this pull at all. So instead of doing this, I could have just been on this left side, poking away and being in position for the Lotus. Sometimes it doesn't happen. That's okay. Jupiter wants to say hello. He's meowing in the background. Isn't that right, Jupiter? No, I'm shy. I want to get out. Fine. Anyways, back to Dota. So Sprout here on the Vengeful Spirit. If she did have a Quelling Blade, you see how the top sprouts would have hopefully been blocked off by these trees. She still doesn't have one, which I think is a bit of a grief at this bracket. But maybe at the lower brackets it'll happen more often, so you'll get easy trades, kind of like what you're seeing here. This maybe makes it not the best example game to know how to deal with Sprout, but hopefully I'm still highlighting like when you would Sprout to deal with the Quelling Blades, like when they're near trees, stuff like that. At this point, I realized she did not have the Quelling Blade, so I was just looking for Sprout for free damage and like harass. And here I kind of get baited by this courier. I thought I could get it, like Sprout trap it. But you see how much health I lost for that because it ended up being 2 heroes hitting me. That's kind of why it's not worth to put yourself out of position for this kind of stuff. Don't get baited. I say that. I get baited all the time because they look so tasty. I want them, but you really shouldn't, guys. You see here, get a kill because no Quelling Blade, LMAO, and all the earlier damage from like over here, stuff like that. So buy a Quelling Blade if you're playing versus Nature's Prophet, guys. Just kind of like dragging the creeps over there. I got distracted looking bottom, so I didn't hit again. But the idea here was that this creep was dying. So you see the timing would have worked out pretty well where these creeps go over here. And I wasn't really expecting a pull, but it would just kind of like delay these creeps as they fight the hard camp for a little bit, and then these guys would walk up and probably like re-aggro. So it would keep equilibrium here rather than do a complete pull. I actually, if the pull had fully happened, I wouldn't want a full pull at this moment, but I was just pretty confident like the timing would work out for where it was at. Plus, if it did pull, Venge is dead, so we can like maybe just drag the creeps over ourselves and then zone the Luna 2v1 until Venge is back. But actually, she almost does like her own pull and does something similar to what I described, where because these guys got distracted by the hard camp for a little bit, our creeps met up further than they would have if she hadn't done that. It would have ended up like somewhere back here. So kind of good on her. A little bit of a mess up on my part for letting that happen. That would have been another good Sprout moment. You see she's kind of in the trees. I think she like walked. I think there's a replay bug. I think this tree's not here. But you see like she's surrounded by creeps and near trees. That would be another good time to Quelling Blade. Here I know she has a Quelling Blade, or sorry, a good time to Sprout. Here I know she has Quelling Blade, but I'm still thinking Venge does not, and I am correct. So I saw like Venge coming in. I don't want to get like stunned up and then lose a lot of health again, so I'm going to Sprout, keep her away from me. I know Luna will go through, but Venge is blocked off, so I get to walk away without taking too much extra damage. Here, do a little stat dropping before using the stick, maximize efficiency. We're at 10 stick charges, can't get any more sticks than that, so might as well use them to make sure we pick up more charges. I'm not planning on like tower diving or anything, so I don't need like the surprise factor of that. Plus, I'm already low. Here, I think there were calls to go bottom, so you see Wyvern and I TP in, and in this case, I am a little bit forced to go through the Twin Gate. By the way, make sure if you do these kind of rotations, something to be aware of as Nature's Prophet is where your courier is. I recommend, again, do as I say, not as I do. I recommend every time you use teleport in that channel time, if you have time to like look around, go check where your courier is and maybe send it home or something. So for example, if it was just about to get to me here and then I teleported bottom, it is now walking across the map through that mid lane and is going to get killed. So try to be aware of your courier is, or times you're going to use the Twin Gate after teleporting around and you're going to call your courier instead of having it come to you. Maybe like send it up to the lane you are going to be at when the courier gets there, that kind of thing. You see me do that there. Instead of having the courier walk this way and then have to walk up, I immediately send it to the top and then recall it myself. And of course, I'm using Twin Gate there because we killed Primal Beast. Got to get back to this lane, grab the Lotus. I maybe could have stayed bottom for that Lotus, but I didn't want... I felt this top lane was going well, so I wanted to stay with the DK. And here was an example. Oh, she's invisible. Here we go. Here is an example of where we sprout. She's near a tree. She tries to Quelling Blade out, and she actually gets blocked by this other tree out here, and so she's actually stuck in here for the full duration. So that is 200 magic damage for me for free. And then I don't know. Maybe I could have gone earlier, but we do end up teleporting in. My spot's kind of weird. I think on this part would have been a little better, but I ended up TPing here. It like barely works out. She almost gets away, but when Spectre does chase. So here, once Wind Ranger is out of my range, I just start hitting Primal Beast because I still have these teleportation stacks, and the creep wave is here. I know he doesn't have that many spells right now because he used them to kill Lion, so I should just be attacking him, but I got scared because I saw Venge coming in, so I backed off. If she hadn't come in, that would have been a good time to just stand and fight because I'm picking up more armor every time I attack. I have a stick, I have a Lotus, I had the teleportation, extra damage, and I had the creep wave, so it would have been a good time to attack. I think I still could have, honestly. Now looking back in hindsight, Venge was far enough away and he was low enough with this extra like heal and Spectre coming back as soon as she like kills Wind Ranger. I probably could have like stood still and fought and maybe even killed him as he tries to run away with Sprout, but you know, if he had more health, I think that is the correct call to run away. And then we actually are going to try for him here with a bit of a Sprout, but not quite going to get it in this case. 7-minute runes, I maybe could have attempted this steal. I have no boots though, so it would have been really slow. You see Lion going for it. I end up TPing here to pick up ours, and then yeah, it was already taken by Venge, so I think it's fine that I didn't go for that one. Depending on what's happening, and if you do have boots, you feel a little safer because you're fast. You can go for that steal there, but it was a little late for it for this bracket. Like you see, it gets picked up pretty quickly at certain ranks, and that's why you want to do that, because when people are slacking and they're late by like 30 seconds to a minute or more, you're just like easy wisdom runes just for remembering to go. I should be looking bottom right now, teleporting. There we go. Just, you know, a few seconds late. Teammates might have died, whatever. I actually like don't quite get there in time. This Sprout could have been in front of her. That's a little bit on my bad. You do a Spectre Haunt now because she has gotten killed. She's gotten the XP. We're just gonna get another kill, start using these earn charges. So this is where things start to pick up for us, and we're just gonna like globally rotate around. Almost get deleted by this. Look at that. Nutty damage from Pug to mid. I have to run away. Thanks, Lion. Thank you, Lion, dying for me. We have documented here in the video your very gracious sacrifice. Thank you. From here, I am about to feed. I am doing like I was gonna do like a small pull to get this, like, if this creep wave meets out here, this was my thinking, but I actually think it's a little incorrect. My thinking was that if I do this small pull, these creeps will meet under tower, and then, like, we kill this small camp, our creeps come back to the tower, so our creeps fight these creeps under tower, helping to protect the tower, and we kill off these creeps faster, rather than having to walk out here and try to damage. You saw Pugna almost delete me, right? I don't want to walk out there and have to like farm creeps and try to push out the wave. So I was trying to get the enemy creep wave under the tower so that the tower could help kill it and the wave gets shoved out faster. Didn't quite get it. Someone interrupted me, didn't realize. So I'm trying to use Sprout to damage the creeps preemptively. This is like the weird thing about Sprout. It's not like a usual like nuking spell you can use from afar. Kind of have to walk up and Sprout the creep wave to get them to start taking damage, but in doing so kind of revealed myself, and Primal Beast just dives me. So that's a bit on me for not like respecting the fact that Primal Beast was in the area. I'm not allowed to show in the lane like whatsoever, or else that happens. So what I needed to do was like continue to stay back, maybe drop the Sprout around the tower or a little further up as the creeps walk in, and that way I'm never actually showing, but the Sprout would help to like maybe body block the creeps for a little bit to protect the tower and do some damage there. But instead, I feed. I make mistakes too. I am only human. From here, still working on that spirit vessel. You see me not buying the boots. I was thinking about TPing here, so I actually scanned, but it briefly pinged red, so I figured Luna was there. Didn't want to just like feed. I see Venge going top, so I told Dragonite, you know, be careful. Off of this tower, what are they doing? We don't know. So if Venge went top, there's a very real chance that Primal Beast is actually like farming these camps, and now he's about to go top. And suddenly there might be multiple heroes coming in to get DK. And, you know, maybe I could teleport in, right? It is something Nature's Prophet could do. We could teleport in and fight. But, you know, if you're not really feeling it, you don't know how many heroes are going. Pugna just starting to show mid. Otherwise, he might have also been going through here. So I'm just telling him to be careful. If you were up here, right, when a tower falls in the bottom lane, you now have to respect that in the top lane because of those twin gates. So be careful. Pugna finds DK here, so I'm going to TP. This is the power of the global teleportation. He does not have his Coiling Blade either, so we trap him in here. Off of that kill, I grab my ult. I think I forget where I cast it, but you see I didn't cast it here. Pretty confident I casted it in the minimap. Usually decent about that. That allows us to get like a big hit here to pick up a double kill for ourselves and a triple kill for the team overall. Thank you, Dragonite, for your sacrifice. It's worth it, I promise. When you have enough earn charges, you can use it on yourself to heal. I probably should have like backpacked this crown and stuff to like maximize the heal, but you can use it so long as you have enough charges. I would say 3 in the early game is enough. If you're down to like 1, maybe even 2 charges, you may want to save it for the aggressive plays if possible. But if you go for an aggressive play and you have no health and you just die, right, it's not very good. So you do need to be healthy enough, so don't be afraid to use the earn on yourself, not just for damage. We smoke here looking for Luna. It is a bit of a blind run because we never ended up warding earlier. We just have to like walk in here. And because I actually would have used this anyways, I like this spot. It's sneakier. And because we killed her near this cliff, I'm pretty sure like if they're communicating or if like the supports are watching, they're going to assume we had vision here, which is where we caught Luna, but we actually just blindly stumbled into it. Lucky for us. But we went to like a focused area. Like, yeah, carries usually farm here. We're going to blindly try for it. But while we're here, I don't want to ward on this cliff because that's the first place they'll check. Like Venge is a hero who can easily check high ground. Actually, several of them can check high ground. So if the sentry doesn't go on the cliff, it'll go on the low ground, and then like they'll high ground check this. So I don't want to put it like anywhere around here either. If you don't use this spot, you have to go like even further out, like over here, stuff like really weird further out spots so that you don't get caught by the low ground sentry. But this one will not. You can't check both these in one. So I put it over there. I like this one anyways in general. I don't know when supports will catch on. Even I, knowing this one, right? I know this spot in my pub games. I still check this cliff first because it is the easier, more common ward for lazy deep warding. And if you have to blindly guess and you don't have more information, like that's the one you check. So don't actually use it, guys. But when you deward, I wouldn't blame you if you checked it either. And you see, because I'm here and I feel safe to do so, I am going to farm their hard camp, steal it from the enemy Luna. None of my cores are trying to like farm in this area. So I'm going to play up here. This is actually a little bit dangerous of me, not knowing where the Primal Beast is. I could just die again. My teammates are over here, which is like close, but they don't actually have the Blink Dagger yet on Lion or Dragonite. So if Primal Beast just charges at me, grabs me, and like he starts smashing me in the ground, by the time they get here, I am dead. So this was dangerous of me to walk up and show without knowing where the Primal Beast is. Like he wasn't actively on the map. I should have just stayed jungling in that time, which I do end up falling back to, or not. What am I doing? I think my team was calling to go mid, and I had just bought the Spirit Vessel. So now I am walking back to meet my courier to pick it up as fast as I can, trying to keep an eye on what's going on in that mid lane. And then I start TPing as my courier's close so that before my channel time is up, the courier will get to me. I hope. That was my rough plan here, and unfortunately it did work out. You see it arrives just before I get here. This was actually bad on me, so I Spirit Vessel the Pugna because when Pugna's draining, he's healing, so you want to prevent that. But it's actually Winter's Cursed right now, so I'm not doing any damage. So I could have waited a few seconds before using this on Pugna, We could argue that this lasts long enough. It lasts 8 seconds, so he'll come out of the curse and it will start affecting him. If he were to try to like stick, fairy fire, heal, whatever, all that stuff, we'd reduce it a bit, and the spirit vessel would still tick for a few seconds, so maybe he would die after that. And you know, benefit to me, I now have spirit vessel as soon as possible again, thanks to the low cooldown. I use it right away. It'll come up faster that way. But I did waste like 5 seconds on that Pugna not doing any damage whatsoever. So I think I probably could have waited for it. But you see what I'm doing, right? We're farming top, picking up our items, and showing up to fights. By the way, I'd like to highlight that I did just rush Spirit Vessel. You see I didn't get boots, I didn't finish the wand. If you need Spirit Vessel, it's totally fine to do this. The components are pretty cheap, and so the build-up is still quite nice. And because of teleportation, you don't need the boots as badly as other supports. But I will probably buy the boots and wand here. I forget what I do exactly. But I usually at least get the boots. We could maybe even skip the wand at this point for her. We're having a pretty good game, so if we wanted to skip it and keep the timings going as fast as possible, we could do that. Still just with my team right now because we're kind of playing aggressive, and I could have TP'd out and then like teleportation back in, but I wouldn't have that much mana. I did pick up a royal jelly. I've been experimenting with this more. I know in the video I said like stats, damage, stuff like that. I forget all my options. But Royal Jelly is pretty nice, especially if you're picking it up later in the time, like when it's close to tier 2 neutrals and you're about to replace it, because you can actually just backpack this tier 1 Royal Jelly and use the charges when you need it, just pop it back out. So I've really been liking it, and Nature's Prophet, when you farm a lot with Sprout, you will go through mana, so that's kind of why I grabbed it. This is super greedy of me, but I was hoping Luna was being, like, not sitting here for it, and she was trying to, like, farm or, like, go and stack. So I came here to Sprout and like push her off. We did actually get the steal. I fully expected to die for this, but I figured it'd be worth it. But turns out Luna was lower than I realized. I thought I could solo kill her, but I actually have a great carry on my team who's paying attention to the minimap, unlike me. And so she shows up, helps me kill Luna. Right after that Luna kill, I just told her to leave me. Do not, you know, try to save your buddy, all that stuff. Make it clear to your carry, like, literally abandon me, let me die here. Like, you get out. This is already really good for us. Do not also die trying to help me. So I think she would have. She seemed like on top of it this game. I think she would have recognized to sacrifice me. But go ahead and say it when you do some risky stuff. And it, you know, whether it works out or not, you do find your kills. Like, don't let your team get baited and go way too hard. He's like, oh, Nature's in. We all better dive, right? Like, no. I'm doing, like, just let me do this and die on my own or something. My team smoked there. I told them I'd be up in 10 seconds. Some heroes were missing, so they were a little cautious. That's why they didn't just immediately go on that Pugna there. And right now I'm watching. I don't want to... You have to be careful about this with your teleportation, right? The whole point of your hero is that you have the global presence, and your team is expecting that to a degree if they understand what Nature's does. So I regularly tell my team whether I do or do not have teleportation. As soon as I use it, I ping that it's on cooldown, and my town portal scroll's on cooldown. Like, I do the same thing on any hero. So make it clear to your team that you can or cannot show up to fights, because right now they're looking for fight, assuming I can show up, because I told them I could. So, like, in this case, it's fine. But if you guys are like, you just died, you respawn, you're like, oh, farm top, you know, better teleport there, and then suddenly your team fights, you're like, oh, sorry, guys, I can't be there, right? You're kind of like misleading them unintentionally. If you do want to farm and you have the town portal scroll and the fight doesn't look like it's about to immediately happen, you can go ahead and like town portal scroll up here potentially, push this lane, farm it, and the whole time you're keeping an eye on that bottom fight or wherever on the map so that you can teleport in and maybe use your ultimate. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm watching this fight, and that's why I decided to teleport up here. Then I'm killing the Wind Ranger. We Sprout the Venge. Just throw everything on her, right? We have plenty of Spirit Vessel charges at this point. I was confident we'd kill her and get another charge. So I dropped that. We're looking for the Pugna, but damn, that little green guy's fast. So he's actually like already down here teleporting out. Didn't quite find him. Here, because I used teleportation down here, I was about to town portal scroll out and farm, but I mentioned this in the video. When you have too many global heroes, they kind of do what you want to do to an extent. So me and Spectre is not the end of the world. It's only 2 of us, so that's okay. But sometimes you also get like Zeus and Dawnbreakers, and then it's like it's too many global heroes all at once. And because she left, and I didn't have teleportation quite yet, I decided to stay here. Luna, kind of a little bit of a mistake here. I didn't expect DK to actually jump in, but you see Eclipse kind of gets wasted there. Winter's Curse to buy us a little bit of time. But we actually, I think we come back in for this dive on the Pugna. At this point, because I know he's really low, and if I just like use Spirit Vessel on him, he'll die. That's why I'm doing this really aggressive teleportation here. I didn't know if he'd like turn around or keep going, so I'm just going to commit to this teleportation. Then I can throw the spirit vessel on him, and fortunately I clicked. You can do two things, guys. You can sprout on the ground, or you can sprout a hero. When you click a hero, it will like use it on the hero, and that's why when Venge swapped, my hero automatically like re-aimed at Pugna to the side. If you ground target, you gain a little bit of extra cast range, especially like when they're at the fog of war and you're like constantly losing sight of them, and you try to click on them, it will bug out, and sometimes like you lose sight of them, so you stop casting. But if you cast like on the ground really near them, even as you lose sight, you will still sprout and potentially cap them. So that's kind of like the difference between the two. But yeah, we pick up the Pugna kill off that aggressive kill, and I kind of expected to die for it, but me for Pugna is totally worth it. But in this case, they're distracted by my team diving, and they're prioritizing the Wyvern mid over the position 4 natures, so I do get to live. Wyvern dies. I'm okay with that, but you know, some plays you make expecting to die, and you just have to determine if it's worth it. Like if I TP'd there into like 5 heroes just to kill a position 5, that's a low chance of success, high risk, not really worth it. But high chance of killing a Pugna mid there, pretty worth it to risk my life. Itemization wise, you do see I picked up boots. I think I was low on mana when I picked up this clarity. I think I died since then, so I have enough. Gonna go for the shard, combos well with the spirit vessel. You see low ground wards as natures because Sprout can check high ground, so make sure you're pretty much always putting it on the low ground. Shard this game pretty nice as they like wind run through trees, trample away out of our sight, things like that. It's also just a generally good vision spell. The nice thing about teleportation, you see me here, I started here, saw that he changed angles, so I also changed angles to cut him off. You can do this. Be a little careful. Like in general, it is good to aggressively teleport to cut people off, but make sure you're just not going too far, especially if you don't know where enough heroes are. In this case, I felt comfortable because we had this observer, so I knew what I was going into. But other times you teleport too far and then just get like insta-killed by 3 heroes around you to the hero like retreating. The front liner retreating to the back line, you like TP straight into the back line, they all nuke you and you immediately die. So be a little careful about that. But in these early game skirmishes, usually, especially as you see like heroes spread across the map, you're safe to like teleport really aggressively to cut them off, so you can try to like sprout them or sprout in front of them, block their path, and you like have the cast range to do that. So anyways, because I teleport here, we do manage to pick up the primal beast, and then I use this nature's call to 1, start to get vision of heroes trying to teleport in behind trees, and then 2, this looks like it's about to become a tower dive. So the nature's call will create these treants, which will tank the tower for us. So that's kind of why I go out of my way to use Nature's Call in this area. Really, like anywhere here would have been good. Just like, I don't really know where they're TPing. I can't cover the whole area with level 1 Nature's Call. So just like pick your spot. That's your best bet. You can always use them to try to like body block, but it's a little difficult. And then here's a little indecisive on like what we were actually doing. Like, should we be diving or are we happy? I am kind of low. So I'm kind of like sticking around in the area just to like see what happens. And then as my team decides to go, I am going to commit the Spirit Vessel, and I'm standing around. I ended up tanking this creep wave. That was a little scary, but it's all fine. Works out. You see Lion also came back in, right? A lot of people get scared as soon as they get low and immediately teleport out. But depending on your job, like carries can arguably do that. Mids, you do that. Supports, if you can still contribute, especially because you have low cooldown spells, if you die but your team picks up another kill, it's usually worth it. So that's why even though I was a bit low there and kind of scared, I did hang around, and so did Lion, because if he can like blink hex, stun, if I can sprout for my team and I die or he dies, it's like totally worth it to get Spectre a kill. For this tier 2 neutral, I think I pick up the Grove Bow. Yeah, Grove Bow. So Grove Bow is good. Specialist Array is pretty good. Those are solid aggressive options. Another one is like Orbit Destruction if your team has physical damage. But you see my team is not like, it's not like PA Slardar type of physical damage, Clinks, we have like very mixed damage, and I have a Spirit Vessel, and I just picked up the Shard for Curse of the Old Grove. So like with my own build plus my teammates, we have a lot of magic damage, and that's why I went for a Grove Bow, which gives me attack range and attack speed. That's already nice for just me attacking, especially with the teleportation stacks, but then the magic amp is going to be very nice for the other ones. Depending on the game, like if we were losing and I need to tank up, like there's a lot of like stat items that you could get instead. Those are all fine as well. This time I forget what happened. Oh, this was like a little bit of a weird play. Lion picked up the DD and pinged like whoever was mid, but I was kind of hesitant on it and didn't quite get to like explain it to him before they jumped him and killed him. So that's why that one part looked a little funny. From here, I think I'm going to go Aghanims. We're all about to find out together, but Aghanims looks good to me because Windrun and Trample depend on movement, so if you root them, they can't do that. It's also just a generally good like utility spell, especially with the global nature of myself, but also Spectre. Being able to contribute more from afar is pretty useful in case I can't join with Teleportation or Town Portal Scroll, whatever, right? The ultimate is global, but being able to root as well for a Spectre who may have TP'd onto someone or haunted onto someone and they're trying to TP out, I can root for her. Here I have Smoke and I have teammates with Blink behind me, so I was kind of going in first to find people. This may have been a little risky though in hindsight with not everyone, like literally everyone missing, so I probably should have been more careful about this. Slow reactions though, so you see I kind of like walk in. I was thinking about farming, but I was like, no, I'm smoked, I should look for kills. Now, you see my smoke broke, and I'm just slow. The smoke breaks at a greater distance than you have night vision, so that should have tipped me off right away, but slow old man reactions, I'm still not doing anything, and then Windranger actually just walks up and shackles me. As soon as my smoke broke, I should have pressed Curse of the Old Grove. That would have been the proper play. And I should have used it at any moment here, but I kind of forgot I bought it already, so I simply don't use it. But it would have been good to get vision of the heroes, to know who is in that area. Right now, a little spooked, so we're just kind of backing up, but kind of realizing, oh, actually it's not like everyone, they're not like fully coordinated, so we can do this. So just start turning around. I figured Windranger was probably dead, so I kind of like went for Vengeful Spirit. It was a little close, actually, you know, maybe I should have helped kill her off first. Spirit Vessel on the Primal Beast, he is a very tanky hero. Gonna sprout him as well. And then let's go slow here to make sure you guys see this damage. This is why this build works out. So Old Grove on Luna. She's also being affected by like my teammates in a moment here. So she's by this tree. She's by 2 trees right now. I Spirit Vessel her, sprout her. So she's by 10 trees and still affected by Curse of the Old Growth. And I've got Grove Bow on her as well. So my teammates aren't even hitting her right now, but these are all the things she's affected by, so she's actually just ticking down in the trees. This is why this build works out pretty well. If they don't have dispels or like ways to deal with trees, it is a lot of magic damage that comes out even onto a core hero, especially when fights happen near trees. Like this was only 2 trees, right? Imagine if the fight is happening like in here, in this area, in this stuff, which you saw a fight happen here earlier. There are so many trees around the map, and these kind of fights like in the tree lines happen all the time. So Curse of the Old Growth helps you to keep track of heroes and does like insane damage when people are like fighting in here, that kind of thing. So off of that fight, this would be a good time to place any wards. You know, for example, I could sentry here, check both these cliffs. I'm very safe to do so, even if there is a ward here and I'm sitting here under vision for like 10 seconds waiting for sprout cooldown. It's very safe right now with all of them being dead, and then I can place like an observer like up here or something. Pick up this haste rune. Don't have teleportation, otherwise I might try for a 21-minute wisdom rune steal because they're all dead. But when I saw this, actually, like Venge is up here and the wisdom rune is over here, right? So even though it has just spawned, there's no way she can get this and be over here. So I'm sort of watching it right now, watching the other heroes and the cooldown, and I was low-key thinking about running there with this haste rune. But actually, as soon as I have teleport, I am going to go for the steal here because I haven't seen, like, oh, we're waiting? Okay, there we go. Should have done it faster. Primal Beasts or, like, whoever just respawned, someone respawned, could have gone here and stolen this. This is why it's important to be on time for these runes, guys. Some asshole playing Nature's Prophet might just, like, show up and steal stuff. But this is really good to do if you are Nature's and you're watching the minimap and you know whether they can or cannot have picked up the Wisdom Rune yet. I think I also scanned it to be extra safe. But we're stealing multiple wisdom runes from them, and that is really big. It's going to hurt their XP a lot. I think they've only got 1 wisdom rune, along with the fact that we're winning quite a few fights. You see we're a lot higher level than them across the board. Actually, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it is still good to do, I swear. Not everyone is toxic, guys. I just mute it so you don't see the all chat in these videos. There was a little bit from the enemy team as they started to lose, blaming each other and all that. But my team was actually quite nice. These guys aren't toxic, guys. It's just for the video. I think we were calling for Tormentor here. I promise, guys, even in my bracket, it is sometimes difficult to get teammates to do the bracket, Tormentor, whatever words. In the meantime, I'm farming the Ancients, which actually maybe isn't helping to convince any of the cores to come here. But I thought I would stack it. That would tempt them. But when they didn't come, I just kept going, guys. You get to do this. You see I'm not getting wrecked by Ancients because Sprout is helping me to cut off the Ancient camp, so I'm not having to like tank the whole thing. I'm trying to use it in a way that like blocks off their paths so they go back, so we get the full duration of Sprout. I'm like messing it up a little bit, but it's close enough. Spectre gets gone on, so we're gonna teleport in. Remember to use our abilities this time. Save her, pick up a Luna kill. She's actually just gonna haunt for more. Does she get this? No, not quite. Jumping a few seconds ahead, I was just kind of standing near Wyvern in case something like this happened, which actually perfect timing, it just did. I didn't expect to, and I didn't want to give her like fake confidence to go forward. So I would talk in the mic if you're explaining like what you're doing. Like, we're not pushing on our own here, just kind of like being near you in case something happens like this, but I don't actually want you to like start diving the tier 2 thing like, oh, nature's with me, my team's here. So, make that clear with whoever you're playing if you want. Here you get another example of the damage you can do. She is being hit by the Mage Slayer and the Arctic Burn, but then it's like Old Growth, Sprout, Spirit Vessel, Grove Bow. As she starts to escape from Sprout, because she did finally buy a Quelling Blade, the treants count as trees for the shard. So as she's leaving the Sprout, I am going to turn them into trees and then have them follow her, so that she does continue to tick down. She dies to winter anyways, so I guess it wouldn't have mattered all that much. Now we're kind of like diving a little bit. I don't think Spectre has Haunt yet. It might be close. It's very low cooldown now. There we go. We didn't really plan for this. This is maybe not the cleanest execution, but at this point we're just 11k up, so it's working out. This could have been a throw, potentially. I think I'm going to die here. Very sad. Not worth it at all whatsoever. Just kidding, guys. You see we're winning, but it's kind of because... It's more because we are ahead rather than like that was tactically a very good fight for us. It was messy and it just worked because we're ahead. And I think that's important to understand the difference of, because if we were not ahead, that this is potentially a game throwing or like a, making the game much harder kind of thrown fight versus like, oh, we should do that all the time. It totally worked out. It's just because we are ahead that we were able to like take that sloppy fight under their tier 2 tower. So understanding the difference will help you pick the right fights and not build bad habits of like, yeah, it worked, we'll just do it all the time, right? That is not what you want to do. Understand why you win different things so you can repeat those good behaviors and cut out bad behaviors. I'm just going to start jumping around to show you like things you can do now, because like at this point the game starts to snowball. We finally did do Tormentor. As I said in the video, I'm going to be trying to test out these talents more, so that's why I got them. That's why I'm creating so many treants. And what I'm going to do with them is split push the waves, and then you see me like scattering them all. This is in the micro guide if you want to know how to do it. But this is going to give vision, so you can like look at my mini map here and see how much vision these treants are starting to cover. That is kind of my idea behind this talent, and even if you don't take this talent, you still have 5 treants to work with by default, and it is very helpful for them to like scatter around and find things for you. So when you have this many treants though, because you took the like +5 treants, which I really like in general, like in this case I'm going for a lot of spell damage, so I don't really need the teleportation stacks as much. But if you can send them to like different key points, this is not like the cleanest of like critical areas. Like some better areas would be like the entrances, the ramps, things like that, certain like junction points like this. But you see how they're scattered out, so I do get general vision. Try not to just send them like into towers. I'm bad about this all the time, but hypocrite, do as I say, not as I do again. Try not to just like kill them to towers. Send them like outside towers like this, or like here, like on the ramps and stuff. And then after you scout them out, if you do end up using like a command to move all of them, you see they like then come back. So be careful of that if you don't want to do that. But sometimes it is kind of nice to have them like move out and then move back in to like constantly scout an area. You can even go so far to like use patrol commands if you want. That's a little excessive, I think. It's really hard to do with that many treants all individually. But just having them scatter across the map in certain areas, like, oh, we want to push into this area, so send 5 treants to like go like here, 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 right? You're going to scout the whole area out for your team preemptively. This fight, I mean, doesn't even matter. We're so far ahead. You kind of see what I'm talking about. We're like diving back here. They're barely doing any damage to Spectre. In the middle of this fight, I'm going to have my treants push this wave as you feel comfortable with in terms of micro. you can do this or not, but it is part of the ratting potential of Nature's Prophet. While you are actively taking a fight, you can use the treants you already have alive to push things out, or because they get killed a lot. Like if I summon treants here and had them go at Primal Beast, he would just trample kill all of them. They'd be dead in seconds. But I could summon them here, and then it's 51 seconds. I could command them to come over here and attack the next creep wave. That would cut this creep wave in the middle of this fight, so that as soon as we win, perhaps this wave is like further back here, right? Because I cut the wave, then my team wins the fight, and they're like, oh, we want to push, and then this wave is already pushing in because we cut the wave from the treants. So you can look for stuff to do like that as you become more comfortable with the hero. Do not grief yourself like trying to do that in the middle of a team fight and then you're just like AFK sitting. Definitely do what you need to first, and then as you feel comfortable with micro, you can look for that kind of stuff. Do not feel intimidated to like not play this hero. The easy version of this is what we did earlier. You preemptively like are pushing out lanes, summoning treants, and then you just tell them, you select them, set them to a control group, and just click down the lane, guys. Very easy that way, and you don't have to worry about this in the middle of the team fight. It is very basic micro for that, but you can see like the ceiling of the micro doing stuff like that for those of you who enjoy this stuff. Another aggressive TP to like cut off kill, stuff like that. Oh, I will say, if I hadn't TP'd aggressively for that kill, something you can potentially do if you want to be sneaky, I don't really need to do it this game, especially with what's going on, but in closer games where the high ground siege is going to be a lot trickier, sometimes you can teleport like back into the base and then put an observer like pretty deep in. People don't usually expect this. I wouldn't do it as the high ground is happening, right? They're alive and your team is like just doing this. It's a little late to do this at that point because if a fight actually does break out, you're going to have to like walk through here and just immediately get killed to join the fight. So I would do this preemptively. Like your team just finished Roche, and so you teleportation back here, set the observer, and then you TP back out and like rejoin your team and pretend you're like, here I am, right? I was never in your base. And now your team has vision for the high ground push. This game, not needed, but something else you can consider in harder games. Now, actually what you see me do instead, and you can do this when they're all dead or when your team is like taking a tower, you can tell it's not being contested, stuff like that. You can actually just leave. You can town portal, scroll out, and push other lanes. And I feel comfortable doing this because teleportation is almost up. So I know I can rejoin my team like as soon as possible. And actually I do it preemptively just to make sure there's no throws. And because I started to realize like, oh, this is actually a little slower than I thought. So I came back right away. But here's the easy micro I was talking about. I came here, summon the treants, just click them here, shift click them down here. You can do this all from the minimap. Okay, so summon them, control group. For me, it's Alt-R, and then click, shift, click. Now my creeps are going to walk down here, and then they're going to walk down here. So simple micro. Once you get in the hang of it, just practice it in a lobby. It's a lot easier than it may sound. Like if you're scared of micro, I promise, this stuff's not like that bad. As you get into like more advanced micro, you see me like splitting off a small group of treants to like move into the mid lane to push multiple lanes at once. Really, if you think about it, if none of the towers are down and creep waves are meeting like equal amounts, you literally only need like one treant to change the difference. If it's like 7 creeps for 7 creeps plus 1 treant is going to push. So even without the talent, if you want to split up like 2 and 3 treants to push multiple lanes, it is possible. That's what I'm doing here to get as much map control. Again, just advanced micro. It's honestly not advanced compared to like Visage and Meepo, but like it is stuff you can do as you feel more comfortable with this hero. When you're just moving, try to get in the habit of looking at the time and then looking at the mini-map. So here we're retreating, and so I start looking at the time, looking at the mini-map, and that's why I realized that, oh, it's 28 minutes, the Wisdom Room might be up. Or it is up, they might not have stealing it. So I'm going to teleport in, scan it, see that the scan activates, so I'm just not going to go. At this stage, it's not really worth dying, especially once you have a huge lead. Early game, the very first Wisdom Rune, kind of worth dying for if you think there's at least a decent chance you get the steal. Second Wisdom Rune, kind of that case as well, but it drops from there. At this point, if I die, my death timer is 54 seconds. That's a minute the enemy team can try to come back, finding team fights, stuff like that. So at this point, especially when your team is winning, I am worth a lot. I'm like 5'3" and 30 at this point, so I do not want to feed extra death, so it's not worth taking those kind of risks, stealing it, if you think you'll get caught. Again, like if you want to risk it because like I think very high chance I get away with it, go for it. But that's why I'm just throwing out the scans. I don't give a shit. Sometimes your team needs them, like whatever, right? In pub games, they're critically underused. So just go ahead and throw it out if you're about to do a risk like that and feel safe. As I respawn here, you see I'm walking to this camp. It's something you can do, especially once your team starts to win and you have kind of like some map control and you don't have to join your team right away. We're going to make use of the global teleport, not to show up to this camp to farm right away, because maybe they get into a fight right away and I need to show up. So I'm going to save my teleports. I'm just going to walk over here and start farming. And this is farm that my team pretty much will not use. There's no reason for, well, again, Spectre is a unique hero in the global aspect. She could actually do this. But most carries would want to stay like up front, aggressive, pushing in lanes, things like that. And so I'm farming back here, and I'm capable of teleporting wherever. In this case, it so happens to be straight into the enemy base to finish up some kills, and we win from here. But other times, it'll still be a lot closer, and this kind of farming. And then you can, again, just micro your treants to different camps. It's pretty easy while you're just attack clicking, select them, shift click them to different camps, or maybe shift click them down lanes, stuff like that. Just stuff you can do while all you're doing is attacking a creep. Many people watch way too hard on creeps being killed, like A-clicking them, spam clicking them, stuff like that. Once is fine, and now you have that time to go micro the things around. Okay, so that's it. I hope you guys found this helpful to give you a little bit more insight on a Nature's Prophet game, what that might look like. I know this was a relatively good game, so we got to see like the nicer parts of it. If you're losing, something you can look to do that we didn't talk about this is creep cutting. When you see like 5 heroes pushing this bottom tower, you can teleport back here, take like cut off a creep wave with Sprout and the treants. That is really nice to do. You just have to be careful of the enemy, how good they are at dealing with that. Like enemy Spectres, very scary to do this kind of thing. Primal Beast is actually pretty scary himself. He could like solo kill me if he was having a better game, so that can be scary. So just kind of keep in mind of like what the heroes are, but that's why depending how many towers you've taken, it becomes safer. So if they're pushing my tier 2, but we've actually already taken this, then I can kind of like teleport here or maybe even here. And even if they want to teleport and get to me, so long as they don't have boots of travel, it's going to take time to get here. So I can finish cutting the creep wave and go hide in like many of the hiding spots on this massive map, or just teleport out, right? So it is something you can do in a losing game. We didn't see me do it here at all because we're winning so hard. But that is why taking the early towers as soon as possible helps a lot. If they have all their towers, it is very difficult to creep cut when you start losing. All right, that's actually it. I will now stop here. Hope you guys found it helpful. Thank you for watching. See you in another video.